Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Alibi Pod. Today, it is episode 20. Episode 20. And boy, do we have a show for you. That's actually an exaggeration. What do we have here? Bevs. We have Bevs today? What is this? Is this nog?
That's a bit of the nog.
A little bit of nog? I do love me some nog.
We got the nog milk ratio attempt here too.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good.
I bought nog earlier this week, and it's not gone yet.
Yeah.
And I'm leaving town tomorrow,
Oh yeah, I knew that.
so we are having some now.
Yep. For those who don't know, if you like some eggnog, that stuff be potent. So you can mix it like almost to 50-50 with milk, and it will still be good. Still tastes like eggnog, but, thins out the eggnog a little bit. Eggnog hack for those who care, I guess.
I am a big fan of blacks and grays, hypermodern decoration, emo music, etc.
Yeah.
for 11 months out of the year.
And then Christmas happens.
But come Christmas time, you'll find me doing every single little romantic, festive...
You got to do the cute, corny stuff around Christmas time.
Except for one thing.
What's that?
I absolutely cannot be coerced into drinking a hot bev.
He won't drink the hot bevs. That's true. He doesn't do hot chocolate. He doesn't do hot
chocolate
coffee.
is a big no-no.
He doesn't do hot cider.
No-no. Hot cider's a big no-no.
No wassail or anything. That's crazy.
None of that. Instead, I'll have my nog in a mug.
Little nog. I mean, I respect that. I think eggnog is possibly the best holiday beverage. I consider cider to be a holiday beverage. Thanksgiving,
It's
fall,
definitely a
holiday.
seasonal beverage.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Thanksgiving season holiday beverage, in my
People
opinion.
do cider and wassail for Christmas time, too.
I agree, but I feel like Christmas time is more of a hot cocoa and eggnog, and Thanksgiving is more of a cold cider and wassail,
Acceptable.
That's just my take on the whole thing. But anyway.
Another important thing that happens this season, a cultural phenomenon, if you will,
Tell us about it.
Spotify Wrapped.
Ooh, yeah, that was...
I'm not going to share my Spotify Wrapped. I'm not one of those guys.
No,
I
not
did
that
not
guy.
post it on social media.
I didn't realize it was cringe until this year. I don't think it was.
It wasn't cringe until
everybody
this
was
year.
sharing their Spotify Wrapped last year and the year before, and it was,
very
it was all
cool.
good. And then this year, everyone's like, you posted your Spotify Wrapped. It's, that guy posting his Spotify Wrapped.
I blame it on the Swifties. I feel like they've
I don't
ruined
know.
something about music culture.
Something about music culture. is just
Music,
gone.
general music fandom and culture.
Consumption of this as an art form is no longer valid.
For example, I saw a video of somebody photoshopping their Spotify Wrapped, which, by the way, people photoshop their Spotify Wrapped to change what artists they have.
Kendrick was number one, for real.
Well, no, I saw them changing it to Taylor Swift.
Oh, that's crazy.
And they listened to, rock music. It was like Metallica or something dumb. I don't remember. Probably not that. It was probably something newer. Something more niche. But
That's stupid.
I remember it was, specifically a rock band. I can't remember which one it was. And then they were photoshopping it to change it to be Taylor Swift.
That's stupid.
And so it comes to a point where it's like, now your Spotify Wrapped is just about fitting in. Anyway, as a matter
Very
of principle, I don't
That's-
really share my Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah, that's
officially
kind of
as of this year. I'm not going to share it on social media anymore. Spotify, you're going to have to do something big to change the perception of this. Actually, they probably don't care because it's a huge cultural phenomenon. It's a big thing. Everybody was talking about it.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I do have a particular flex that I would like to share regarding my Spotify Wrapped. Though I'm not sharing my Spotify Wrapped, I will tell you, and will tell the world,
What's this flex?
I saw 4 out of 5 of my top artists this year live this year
Golf clap for that.
in concert.
Supporting smaller musicians, supporting live music. We'd
That's
love
true.
to
I
see
think
it.
of the artists that I saw live this year, I won't throw a number out. A significant percentage of them were under 1 million monthly listeners.
Right on. Supporting live music in general is a good thing. You know, I saw a clip from a podcast with Baby No Money just like yesterday, but he was talking about the death of live music and how artists can't sell tickets.
Yeah, it's sad.
And just, it's not even just that, like, you're not a big enough artist or whatever, TikTok brain or whatever. It's just that people don't buy tickets for it as much anymore. It's hard to make it happen. A combination of
Sad.
factors. It's expensive. You know, it's hard to get out. It's inconvenient. You know, it's culturally we've shifted away from, you know, community and into individual scrolling. You know, you can get your fix with a certain artist by yourself by scrolling TikToks of them performing or whatever. Why would you go to it, I guess? I don't know. I'm a big fan of live music.
Me too,
I like
yeah.
consuming it. I like creating it. I like performing. I like going to concerts. So I'm a big fan of supporting live music in general.
The live music industry also is understandably prohibitively expensive at times.
Yeah.
It's not really cheap to see artists once they get to a certain size.
It's not cheap to perform either.
No, not cheap for the touring team either at all. Yeah, I think most artists that put on a significant tour lose money on it.
Yeah.
Particularly the smaller ones, the non-label backed artists.
It's kind of funny because, you know, we talk about the problems with live music and it's so expensive and hard to get to or whatever. Really, you're talking about Taylor Swift. Like, Taylor Swift goes on the Eras Tour. Tickets go for thousands and thousands of dollars. She makes $1 billion off of the tour, you know, giant, highest grossing tour ever kind of stuff. And most, like, little tours out there, like, we go to shows, cost like $40 to get in, at the door, standing room only or whatever. These are artists who had to take off from their day job to be here.
Yeah.
You know? It's expensive. Like, if you got bills to pay at home while you're doing this, it's ridiculous.
For the smaller artists working their way up, it's prohibitively expensive to the artist to tour and to perform. And for the bigger artists, it's prohibitively expensive to us, the fans, to even buy the tickets.
Yep. Can't afford tickets.
I was looking at tickets for a show recently at an arena show, which that's a whole nother soapbox, possibly for another day. I hate arena shows. I don't go to them anymore unless, like, I don't know. I guess I would go to one. I'm not
still
paying
go to arena
a lot
shows.
of money to go to an arena show. It's not as much fun to me. Almost
If it was
every
a Travis Scott show, though.
Sure. Well, and I go to
There's certain shows where the whole arena has that atmosphere.
And also a show like Winter Jam where it's cheap and it's a lot of artists. I'll go to that, right?
Yeah.
It's a good way to spend an evening. But I'm not going to spend $150, $200 to stand somewhere where the acoustics probably aren't even that great and I don't have that great of a view of the artist.
Right.
To see a band that I don't care about that much, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm to adapt for that. I've changed myself from being a super fan of huge artists to being a super fan of smaller artists.
Yeah.
That I can then go see at the venues that I want to, that are much more intimate, much more close up. Which this was a bunny trail, and now I can't remember what my original thought was that I was trying to get to.
I think we were talking about your Wrapped and how you saw the artists live.
Right, I got that. I was making a statement.
Yeah. Anyway, I think one thing that arena shows are cool for, one specific genre of music where it is nice to have 10,000 people, even if you're not right up next to the artist. You know what that genre is?
Tell me.
Worship music.
That I 100%
Worship music
agree.
is cool.
Yes.
It doesn't matter so much about the artist. The artist is not why we're here so much necessarily.
Yes.
I mean, we are kind of here to see the artist, but also at the same time, like, I don't care who's on stage. If we can get 10,000 people worshiping together, it's a powerful experience regardless.
So much more scalable.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So arenas are great for that.
Yeah. Or a giant field. Like, any of it is fine. It's great.
Yeah, no matter what.
I'll do that in any environment.
Yeah, I'm good. It doesn't even have to be 10,000 people for real, but yeah. Moving on.
Yes, sir.
To another subject. This past week, actually this current weekend, we got Monday Night Football tonight.
Yep.
This is the last weekend of the regular season for my fantasy football team. I think we discussed.
Explain to me for a second. When does the What's the difference between the season for the fantasy team and the season for the
So for regular
NFL?
season football, it ends in a couple of weeks, but fantasy football regular season ends sooner so that you can have playoffs and you can have your players even if their team didn't make it to the postseason in
Gotcha.
regular
Understood.
NFL,
That makes
right?
sense.
And I think I've mentioned my fantasy team on the pod before.
You talked about ChatGPT draft
ChatGPT
picks.
picked my team, did me dirty there. Terrible choices from ChatGPT. Had to adjust and learn how to play fantasy football over the course of the season. I was in a dogfight for last place.
This is your first time ever playing fantasy.
First year ever playing
Yeah, okay.
fantasy football. I was in a dogfight for last place. Thank you, ChatGPT. This week, it was determined. I was tied for last with one other person. And either I win and he loses and I'm not in last, he is. Or he wins and I lose and I'm in last, he's not. Or we both lose and he has fewer points than me over the course of the season, so he's dead last. And
Yep.
basically, I just don't want to spin the punishment wheel. You know, we're gonna have a punishment wheel. I don't want any punishments, but
Can you tell me some of the punishments on the punishment
we've
wheel?
suggested a few things: full egghead buzz, shave
Ugh.
your beard, shave your head. Oklahoma drill, which is a football drill where two people lay across from each other, then they have to roll over. They're laying on their back, roll over, get up, and run at each other and tackle or shove, whatever you do. We have an ex-Chiefs player, Anthony Sherman, who is a regular at our shop. The loser would have to Oklahoma drill Anthony Sherman, which would mean death for me, probably.
You're not a big guy.
No, we talked about a variety of other things. Have to go do stand-up comedy at an open mic night, and
I like that
the
one.
rest of the panel writes your set for you, and then you have to just say what we wrote for you.
I would pay money for that.
Yeah.
To see any of you guys
Yeah.
do that.
Talked about you have to do let a 4-year-old girl do your makeup and then wear a dress to work on a Saturday. Talked about having to do karaoke at the local bar and grill. But anyway, all that aside, the good news is the other guy lost this week.
Let's go.
Which means I'm not spinning the punishment wheel. Very happy for that. I'm probably also going to lose this week. But at least I don't get last, and I don't have to play the punishment. I have found that I don't like fantasy football.
He's done.
Could
This
just
is
be
it.
that I don't, it could be just be because I lost, but I don't like having to stress over the game. I like to just watch football. Like I watch the Chiefs, and have fun about it. I don't need to be like, oh no, throw it to the other guy. Like even
I
if my
need this
team's
player.
winning, I
Yep.
need this one player. It's too much stress, too much to worry about. Takes a lot of the fun out of it for me. So, fantasy football.
You will not
in
be
my
doing
opinion.
this again.
I probably will. They're gonna do another shop league every year now, probably. So
Yeah.
I'll have to put up with it, but I'm not a fan, just generally.
I'm considering getting into it, even though I'm not that big of a football fan.
Yeah.
Just because it seems like a fun way to connect. Like, different people have fantasy leagues. Like, my in-laws' family have a fantasy league, and I know y'all have a fantasy league, and I've heard some people at church talking about a fantasy league or starting one.
It seems to be like the way adults have
I know, it's-
connection with
yeah.
each other during football season, at least for men.
So if I could join one where they weren't going to punish me terribly for being the last one and slowly
Yeah.
just kind of learn my way around, I might do that.
Yeah. Another topic to talk about.
Yes, sir.
I saw a video today. I think it was this morning. I think I sent it to you.
I haven't watched any social media today.
I found a video from the founder of CRUMBL.
As in the cookie place?
The cookie place, CRUMBL cookie founder.
Before we jump into this, do you like crumble cookies?
I'm all right with them. I'm not a cookie guy generally. CRUMBL cookies are above average cookies, but I don't go out of my way for CRUMBL.
They're expensive.
Yeah.
They're decidedly overpriced. And also,
Like
I'm with you.
calories
I
of
don't go
pop.
that far out of my way for it. But I do really enjoy them every time they have them. Every time I have a crumble cookie, I think to myself, wow, this is a pretty dang good cookie. The
Yeah.
consistency is what really levels it up for me. My wife, though, she loves it. She checks their specials list every week. And
So, according to the internet, CRUMBL cookies, each cookie generally has between 700 and 800 calories per cookie. And for reference sake, the general recommended daily calories should be 2,000. So you're looking at almost half
half.
of your daily calories in one crumble cookie. And who's stopping at one? Am I? I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding.
that's crazy.
I'm kidding.
People often settle for a half or a quarter of a
Anyway,
crumble cookie.
it's a lot of calories. It's just not that good to me. But anyway, all that aside, the crumble cookie founder is ripped. This dude is in shape.
He don't be eating those cookies.
He's not jacked, but like he's in good shape. Like he's in far better shape than you and me. Like he's got some muscle to him. He's got some muscle definition and all that. All the comments were like, bro doesn't eat his own
He
product.
does not eat those cookies.
According to him, he eats a crumble cookie at least every other day, if not every day. He says he'd be eating the crumble cookies. Maybe he's just having like a bite of the crumble cookie. I don't know. Or maybe he is. But I think the point is, it's kind of funny that we get so mad. Like, it goes viral every time Crumble drops a cookie, and the world is like, there's so many calories. The big companies are trying to destroy you with these poisonous foods and all that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, yes. But also, like, I think this dude is a testament that, like, it can be done in moderation. Just because somebody
one
out
every
there,
other day is
yeah.
not moderation. Come on.
Well, it can be done in a way that is healthy. Just
Apparently.
because some people out here are getting fat eating crumble cookies doesn't mean you have to be fat to eat crumble cookies, or crumble cookies make you fat, you know? I mean, you've heard of the Trin Twins. The Trin Twins are jacked. Obviously on steroids, but they are jacked. They're like 21-year-old meathead gym bros. And they live for crumble cookies. Like, that's part of their brand is like, oh, I want a crumble cookie. And the point is, like, I just found it funny that people get so mad at crumble cookie, but, like, crumble cookie is not the enemy here. Even if I'm not a huge fan.
Might be your workout regimen.
Could be.
All right, it is that time of day
Yeah.
where you have a philosophy quote for us.
I do have a philosophy quote again. Today's philosophy quote comes from Machiavelli.
Machiavelli.
That's right. I chose.
Machiavelli is a famous pessimist in a lot of people's minds. They just think of him kind of in a negative light.
Maybe.
Just
He wrote The Prince. It was about being a ruler or handling power or whatever.
Right.
But this quote is not necessarily about that.
All right.
Machiavelli says, and I quote, "There are three classes of intellects. One, which comprehends by itself. Another, which appreciates what others have comprehended. And a third, which neither comprehends by itself nor by the showing of others. The first is most excellent, the second is good, the third is useless." End quote. Now that's strong words from Machiavelli calling it useless, but the point here, if I were to break the quote down in layman's terms, is that there's basically three kinds of people. There's the people who look at something and understand it. The people who, think about something themselves. The people who can understand something on their own or figure out the answer. There's a second kind of people who they can understand things, but they have to be taught. They're going to have to be told before they can understand anything. Well, not necessarily anything, but on a general sense. And then a third is basically they're just not going to get it. And this is not necessarily for anything. Like, most people can be taught something, I think this is more of like on a philosophical level. There are some people who will kind of come to some sort of philosophical understanding of the world and where they stand by themselves. There are some people who have to be taught what to think or told how the world works or how philosophy works or how theology works before they can understand it. And then there's another group of people who are just, no matter what you tell them, they're not going to get it. And it's good to be the first. It's all right to be the second. And it's not so great to be the third.
In the interest of discourse on this, I don't want to say I disagree with Machiavelli. I just want to point out
Tell me about
an alternative point of view here, another way of thinking about it.
By the way, when I bring a quote, it's not necessarily something I stake my entire reputation on or back with my life.
Yeah, we don't necessarily agree with the quotes.
It's
We
just
just wanna
something I
talk
find
about them.
interesting or I find some truth in or something that struck me.
And Machiavelli is not someone that I disagree with 100% of the time, but also not someone that I agree with
Most philosophers
90% of the time.
agree with all the time. But
Yeah. Anyway, what I want to say is Machiavelli is here saying that the best option is to see something, think for yourself. The free thinkers is option number one,
Or
right?
not even just, well, yeah, I think so. But not even just free thinkers, but people who can understand something naturally. People who are
Your own understanding
quick
is
to
number
learn.
one. Sure, quick to learn, sure. But he definitely portrayed it in such a way that your own understanding is number one.
Yeah.
If you are reliant on someone else's understanding, you're number two.
Yeah.
And if you just don't understand, period, you're number three.
Right.
Well, number three, all right, let's not talk about them today. I want to say maybe if you understand on your own, you're good.
Yeah.
But if you have the discretion and the ability to understand and use the knowledge of others
Right.
to elevate yourself, maybe there you're the best.
Yeah, I think that generally speaking, when it comes to like learning how to be successful in the world or learning how to operate in the circumstances you were born into or will have to rise into, I think number two is going to beat number one every time because number two is teachable. Like
Right.
if you can teach someone and they don't have to make the mistakes themselves to learn it, then that's even better. Although I think number one is supposed to be more of a like you just look at it and you know like oh yeah that's dumb I wouldn't do that.
One of Machiavelli's
Natural talent, I
one of
think.
his big shortcomings is a general distrust of others,
Yeah,
which would explain why he ranks them the way that he does.
yeah,
It's a perhaps cliched sentiment, and I'm sure some famous philosopher has said it before, but by standing on the shoulders of past generations, you see best, and I think maybe that's something that Machiavelli loses out on.
possibly. I don't remember the exact context of the quote, but I think that's a good perspective on it. And I think depending on where you apply it, it can mean different things too. Like maybe it was meant to be like referring to natural talent versus acquired skill
Right.
and someone who never is going to get it anyway. In which case, I still think that number two is oftentimes going to beat number one. If we're saying number one is natural talent and number two is acquired skill, like number one is going to be good at it right away. Number two is going to have to work to figure it out. But most of the time, as someone myself who tends to be naturally talented at a lot of
To a
things,
certain degree, yeah.
not to brag,
No, I agree.
don't work for stuff, or at least didn't work for stuff when I was younger. Didn't have
long
to try
time,
that
yep.
hard in school. Didn't work too hard at my music lessons or whatever. Didn't practice stuff like that. So I would be able to kind of get through things, but I didn't like lock in and work on anything. Like I didn't pursue anything, you know. And people who maybe didn't have the natural talent that I did to be able to just kind of get by they had to like study and focus and practice and pursue.
And ultimately, they end up being better.
Ultimately, they end up being
Yeah.
better because you can only get so far on talent alone. You gotta, at some point, you gotta work for it. And so, while it is good to have talent, if you can't ever learn to like study and learn and you know work for something, then it doesn't matter how much talent you have. But anyway, good quote from Machiavelli. I think it's time to move on again because it's your special segment today.
It's time.
You've got an indie band of the week for us. Tell us who you have today.
All right, so today's band has been around a lot longer than any of the others that we've talked about.
So is this not a Nepo baby?
This is not a Nepo baby,
Ooh.
but it is an artist that we've talked about before,
Who is it?
Judah and the Lion.
Judah and the Lion.
We
Gotta
saw
love
them live this year.
We did indeed.
All right. So they've got,
You know,
I think,
I actually had like a Judah and the Lion song stuck in my head this morning.
good for you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, carry
Sounds
on.
like
fun. Carry on.
So they've got really good writing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just a fun, vibey sound in their songs. Over their career, the sound has evolved from more punk on some of the earlier records to folk to pop, and now to kind of a comfortably edgy alternative rock sound.
Yeah.
They have described their sound before as folk hop and roll.
Such a vibey description. I like it so much.
You and I saw them live.
We did.
This year, and I'll mention they were in my Spotify Wrapped top 5 this year.
Oh. I think in
for-
no small part due to the fact that we saw them live.
Oh yeah, no, I was knew the name, knew like 3 songs when we saw them live, and I was
Bro,
like,
followed the rules. One of the rules was listen to more Judah and Lion. And
oh yeah,
they did follow
give
the
you
rules.
some rules. Listen to more Judah and the Lion. That's what they say at the end of their show.
Yeah.
And I most certainly did.
That's right, you did.
Enough to get them in my top 5.
Very impressive.
I'm a big fan now. For anyone looking to check them out, I'd recommend starting with Take It All Back
Take it all back.
and Is What It Is. It is what it is. Which goes, it is what it is, what it is. Wasn't meant to happen any other way, 'cause it did. And then they say, is what it is, 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 what it is. Love.
that song.
It's a good song. It's a banger song.
I'm a big fan of that one for sure too. I got a few songs other than that I like. I'm a big fan of that Tattoo song.
Oh yeah. No, I
think
I could go
Tattoo
like
was the
20
one that
songs
was
that I
stuck in
love.
my head this morning. When I woke up, I was like half asleep, and I was something about that. I'm with a new tattoo.
Great songs.
great.
All right. We have a little bit of time left.
Yeah.
Perhaps not time for both of us to go
Yeah.
in worst case scenario, but perhaps enough time for one of us to go
All right.
in worst case scenario.
Sounds good.
You or me?
Oh goodness, I was about to ask you that question.
Okay, it's you then.
Okay, I'll rank him.
This is the game where we rank things that we don't want to do.
Yep, that's right. Bad things. And sometimes, occasionally, it might not be that bad. Not saying we're going to want to do
All
it,
right,
but
5 bad situations. We've done this one before.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Split the
the
steps.
deck.
Split the-
All right, wrestle a champion sumo wrestler.
goodness. Okay. This
That's
is not
almost
that
as bad as the Oklahoma drill, actually.
No, this is much better.
Those guys are huge, and they just
Yeah, but they
pummel
just,
you.
No, they just shove you out of the circle.
All right,
They don't
fine.
actually have to tackle you.
Hang glide over Niagara Falls.
That sounds fun, actually.
That sounds sick.
So far, these are not so bad. Also, the sumo wrestler, that's a chubby guy. He's not going to be so firm.
They're not fast. They're not fast. They're not
fast.
I don't
but
know
the
how
thing
firm
is,
they are, but they're not
gonna,
fast.
It's not going to hurt to slam into a belly quite as much. I theorize.
Based on the pictures.
Versus like slamming into a muscular man with football pads. But carry on.
Here's one that would be bad for you.
Okay.
Complete 12 months of Navy SEAL boot camp.
Ooh. Listen,
You are
there's
not
a
okie-dokie.
reason. There's a reason boot camp is not 12 months long. It's short on purpose. Is all I'm going to say. Carry on.
Attempt to stick a sword down your throat. We're talking sword swallower, right? But you have no skills in this department.
Listen, guys. I don't shove nothing down my throat like that. Okay, I need another one. One more card.
One more, yep.
We're
All
at
right.
4.
Learn the date of your death.
Learn the
Ooh,
date of my
that's
death. Oh, okay.
That's it's not that bad. Like it doesn't really affect you that much, but also that's
I think we're gonna go
it could
from
send
worst
you
to
into
best
like a
that-
mental
this
health
time.
spiral.
Worst to best.
Worst
this
to
time.
best. All right, what's worst?
Worst thing is gonna be attempting to stick a sword down my
That
throat.
does sound bad.
I'm
That sounds
gonna
pretty
die
dang
here.
awful.
I can't do
Yeah.
it. I think second worst is 12 months of Navy SEAL boot camp.
Not gonna be okay.
Like boot camp is designed to destroy you. Like you're supposed to be mentally exhausted. They sleep deprive you, stuff like that. It's just not meant. It's not meant to be sustainable. I think after that we're gonna learn the date of my death, which is not the worst thing probably.
It could definitely send you in like a mental health spiral, but
It could, but also like especially if it's like 50 or 60 years down the road, then I've got like 60 years to learn to deal with that.
yeah. Well,
Plus, if it's 50
That would be
or
a
60
really
years down the
interesting-
road, I'm pretty chill with it already.
I know this
Like,
has
all
been
right,
something-
I got time anyway.
that's been covered literarily before, in like literature. But like, what if you got to that day and it seemed like a normal day? Like, what kind of terror do you feel now? And like,
I'm not like on my deathbed. I'm just chilling, going to work
right?
or something.
Yeah. And then like, you don't know how it's gonna happen. You just know the date that it's gonna happen. So what if? And I'm just imagining a storyline here. What if, like, knowing it causes it in
Maybe.
one way or another?
I don't know. I'll probably try to forget. I think next we're gonna say wrestle a champion sumo wrestler. doesn't sound that bad. It actually
No,
kind
I
of
mean,
fun,
it's,
in my opinion,
yeah,
probably.
We'll see. You might get hurt.
And we're going to say not bad at all. Actually, probably good is hang glide over Niagara Falls. That sounds like fun.
I would pay money
That
to
sounds
do
like
that.
something like my girlfriend could convince me in that. You know, we'd go hang gliding over Niagara Falls. Like, it's not that bad.
Yeah,
you know?
sounds like
Do we
fun.
have time for you to do a round two?
Yeah, probably.
Speed round. We're going fast. We're going fast, folks. All right. Let's see your scenarios. We have number 1, on board a downed submarine.
No.
Number 2, lose a bet, have to get a face tattoo.
Don't like
Caught
that either.
in the mouth of a blue whale, you're Jonah. Can't find your winning lottery ticket. Stuck in the middle of a 20-hour traffic jam. Yours
Okay.
are much worse than mine.
Yeah. So number 1 is can't find your winning lottery ticket. Nothing changes about the status quo of my life.
Right.
So that's not that bad.
Number 1 is the
All
not
right.
bad. We're starting from best.
Starting
to worst.
from, yes, best to worst now. Okay, so stuck in the middle of a 20-hour traffic jam. Also, that's number 2. That's it's worse than
That's a day inconvenience.
yeah. That's a pretty
Maybe screws up your week, but nothing
yeah,
that bad.
yeah. Okay, caught in the mouth of a blue whale. I know of some people who have been saved, have survived this.
Not necessarily a death sentence.
That's correct. But also face tattoo. I'm doing face tattoo first.
Face isn't that bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You
not
get
that
like
bad.
you get the little heart or a star.
Oh, I don't.
next to
I don't
your
want.
eye.
I don't want an eye. But yeah, maybe I can make it something chill. Can I get away with like brow tattoos
Yeah, just do your brows.
like something
Tattoo where you're gonna grow your goatee.
Yeah, something that flies under the radar. Okay, so 4 is caught in the mouth of a blue whale. People have been saved from that.
Yeah. Not
Presumably,
necessarily
there's a
death
way to
sentence.
survive. All right,
Right.
on board a downed submarine is 5. There have been some bad stories about that in the last couple of years.
Yeah, we don't want
I
that
do
one.
Not want any part of that.
Definitely don't want that one.
Alrighty, folks. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Next week, I'm gonna come back and tell you all about Christmas in New York.
Yeah. And this has been episode 20. We'll see you later.